408 Stark Boulevard here in Herman. And I was reading about the ordinance. I think that this is really unfair to businesses, and if it starts, it will be setting kind of a bad tone. This is the best year Herman has ever had in tourism.
A couple of things. First of all, I want to say that there's not going to be a vote tonight. The ordinance that was posted last Wednesday, I believe it was not the ordinance that we had intended to bring forward. And so we are not able to vote tonight.
Do you have a copy of those that we could get tonight?
Of which ones?
The newest one.
No, we don't.
If you knew there was a mistake, how come it took
I found out this
today?
morning, Brent. Brent, let us conduct the meeting without this, okay?
The place Herman is, best place in the world. For the last 7 or 8 weeks, 3 months, you guys have attacked tourism as a group. 7 different things put a burden on tourism. We got the best place and we're the most envious little city in this state. That's why most of us moved here. You've attacked the trolley, which I'm a very good person at running a safety and a very good business. You wanted to do it your way. We're doing it your way. You've attacked the guest houses. You don't want any more of them. You're slowing investment down. I want to invest. Let's get along with this. Try to help us. Don't try to hurt us and put obstacles in the way. If that guy wants tiki torches or whatever you call them, let him have them. He's had them for 10 or 12 years. We don't want to get in any pissy fights, okay? That's a bad word, and I'm sorry. We don't want to get in any fights or any personal things here. We just want to do what's best for Herman, Missouri, and continue to grow. I want to keep my family that's here now here, and I want to continue to make a living, and I hope every one of these guys do, because I work hard for them. So I wish you guys would stop all this meddling in our tourism business. We know what we're doing. We really, really do. We got electric problems in this town. We got infrastructure problems in this town. We haven't got our monument done in this town. There's a lot of things. Our park's not done. Concentrate on that and let us alone. That's all I ask of you, and it's fair enough to ask that.
I guess my first question is, most of the things that you're trying to do are already in ordinance currently, whether it's being addressed with a conditional use permit or it's being addressed with our current ordinance. My question to the board and to the mayor is, how many times has a complaint been lodged, and how many times has that problem been rectified by the Herman Police Department?
Well, I'll try to answer that. We have a number of complaints about various things, from mainly noise and light. And we get those, we send, the chief sends somebody over, and they investigate this, and that generates a complaint. There's a written...
Or how about I decide that I'm going to have a consulting business on the side, and I have an LLC that's registered to my house. That is now a business in an R1 zoning. That now puts me in an ordinance to where if I'm having a glass of wine with my wife and kids running around my yard, and an intangible conversation is to be heard from my neighbors 50 feet away, I am now in violation of city ordinance. I'm not conducting business. I'm not even trying to do business. I'm enjoying myself in my own backyard, in my residential neighborhood. That's a substantial problem with the way, and I'm not talking about the one that is posted, I'm talking about the one that Alderman Shorley posted, which I believe was the one that was sent out into your packets.
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't believe that's completely up to speed, but go ahead.
But
What I'm hearing tonight makes it even sadder that we're not even given the correct information, because somehow an ordinance that is really not what you're proposing is out there, which is rather ludicrous, because we're having this circus happening tonight on false information. So I really think that you need to step up to the plate and get done, or propose to get done, what it is that you intend. And behind that, I would certainly hope that there are no hidden personal agendas when it comes to this ordinance. I need the tourists. I need the tourism, and I need the businesses that support tourism. All of the B&Bs, the wineries, the trolley, everybody. I need my neighbor, Wings A-Blazing, who, by the way, pipes music out the front door somehow. There not only is the smell of wonderful wafting, French fries wafting through the air, but we can hear some music every once in a while. And I don't oppose that at all. I think that a high tide floats all boats, and we need this kind of support for one another, for the businesses in Herman.
I have the Harbor House Inn at the corner of 2nd and Market Street. And before I make my comment, I would like to ask a question of the chief. Have there ever been any arrests or fines or court cases about the disturbance or the lighting or the noise?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for an answer. Pretty good.
We moved back and are remodeling our house and have spent a substantial amount of money in the last 12 months to repair that property. If you continue to pick on businesses like us, you're going to have more of the housing that looks like those row houses right beside us.
I was coming today, and my lawyer, they said I am liable. I don't have the proper lighting for anybody that would get hurt on my property.
Past month or two. You know, this past Saturday was Small Business Saturday here in Herman. And the Herman Advertiser-Courier had some great information out there on their Facebook. They had 32 fun places to shop in Herman. And one of the key words there is fun. And I think that's a great word to use to come to Herman. Now, fun means different things to different people, but it's a key word, fun.
Ordinance as I perceive it, is based on the perception that there might be neighbors that aren't as considerate of others. And what I would recommend is, you've got a nuisance ordinance. If somebody feels that somebody is violating that nuisance ordinance, they can call the police. The police can cite them or make a determination on site. If they cite them, they can take it to the municipal judge if they want to go to court.
I don't own a business in this town, but I know probably pretty much all of you, right?
Yep.
Pretty much everybody. Question, a lot of things going on. One, it didn't get to the paper on time, and put it in the paper. Am I, Buck?
It was posted on Wednesday.
Okay. So we didn't get it in the paper. It wasn't the right one. What I question is, you guys were gonna vote on that tonight, right? No.
Yeah, they were.
He works.
I thought that's what it said. It was gonna be voted on.
It was going to be, yeah.
But until you guys figured out it wasn't the right paper.
Couldn't fit.
Or
Right.
until I got phone calls.
It wasn't the right ordinance. But did you guys have the right ordinance when you sent it to the paper?
We had an ordinance that we thought would work.
But that wasn't the one that got sent there?
No,
Is that
So where is that one?
available
Hang on, hey, I don't know you, but I'm talking, please. Thank you.
It seems like everybody showed up here for a hang. The message seems to be you're attacking businesses in Herman, Missouri. You're not. There's a misconception here that everybody's trying to shut down tourism. They're not. They're just adding another layer of an ordinance that does nothing to 90% of the people other than to make them civil to each other.
Herman has always been consistent in good people, trying to do good things for other people.
A street light right outside our house. Guess what? We chose to buy that house. Guess what? I put up light shades, and they shine into my kid's bedroom. My 4- and 6-year-old's bedroom. They get plenty of sleep. They go to sleep at 9 o'clock. They're up at 6. They function just fine, and so do I as a mom. And we put light shades up, and they also go up during the day so the sunlight can come in. And then I pull them down at night when it's time for bed, when I don't want the light to come in the house. And I know you don't want to buy shades. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. I mean, I'm 35 and can adapt. I feel like most people can adapt. So anyway, I just wanted to speak up as a young person in town. Oh, and by the way, Stonehill is right up the hill for me. If you think that noise is an issue where you live, try being there on a Saturday night when they have a wedding going and my windows are shaking because of the noise. My kids have learned to adapt. We love living in Herman, and we love being in a tourism town. Thank you.
Wilkins on the Captain Walt Inn, right behind the mayor. So
background, when he moved in, before he was a mayor, he did say something about the lights. I have offered to buy him blackout shades, which I would do for anybody that I was causing a problem to. The noise issue, the thing about how this was crafted, it really doesn't affect noise in town. Not that I'm saying anybody is too loud, but my place has not had a decibel rating of over 65 decibels. You can nowadays get a decibel meter reader for free on your smartphone. If we are going to have a noise ordinance, just as if you pull over somebody who's been drinking, 0.08 it is, correct? Either drunk or not. So if we are going to enact a noise ordinance, decibels are how we do it. But it's 65 decibels at the Captain Walt. It has not been too loud at the Captain Walt, am I correct? Okay. So it is a personal vendetta. If you drive by on your way home, 123 East 3rd Street, tiki torches, lights, they're at my property. But we bring in $40,000 in sales and lodging tax.
But I thought it might be nice for the folks to hear from someone that might be enforcing these ordinances someday. It's my job to enforce the laws of this state and the ordinances of this town. You run a fine line when you do that in a small town, because most of the people I have a potential to write a ticket to, I go to church with. They're my children's teacher. I have to see these people again, sometimes on a daily basis. So, yeah. And I'm sure Chief Walker's nervous as heck right now, because I got a reputation of being quiet, outspoken. He's probably
In the book now, enforce those. If you need to have one consolidation, take all those ordinances, put them in a consolidation.
That is exactly, ma'am, what the attempt was.
So, but you're changing the wording. You're adding tiki torches. You're adding the lights. You're adding the can't strum your guitar, can't talk, can't have these. So again, take what's already on the book and consolidate it. That seems so simple.
In an attempt to put these all together, I don't know if you all know it, but they're working on a sign ordinance here in town. It's not that we didn't have rules about signs, but they were scattered all over our ordinance book, and it was very difficult for anybody to tell what was right and what was wrong. So they're working to conglomerate it. This was also an attempt to do that. Everything that's listed in that ordinance is illegal by city ordinances. But people didn't realize that. You know, how do we know this? So there was an attempt made to put this all into one area. And in the process, we turned out a document that had less in common with an ordinance than it does with rules for a playground in an elementary school, the way this works.
Okay, it's just a question. Has the city compiled how many businesses in residential zones there actually are? Who will be affected by this? Because I'm curious to know if all the businesses that are in residential zones actually know about this ordinance and how it'll affect them. Send out a letter and say that this is a new ordinance that's going to affect your business.
The ordinance is wrong, but we're required to post it 5 days ahead of time. It goes on our website. It goes up, posted here, we put it in the newspaper. No, we don't have to do that. Okay, so people know about it if they read the paper. And I urge them to read the paper and to keep up with any of this stuff that's going on.
Ban on, the moratorium on bed and breakfast in R1. The word out in our world has been coming back to me with just phone calls from people saying, what's going on in Herman? What's happening in this town? We heard there's a ban on bed and breakfast. We know that's not true. We know that it's worded differently, it's in R1. This that's just happened, whatever the ordinance thing, holy crap. It's everywhere, and it's gonna hurt our tourism business.
This whole thing had to do with businesses in residential districts. When you do that, you got to try to be a good neighbor, and not everybody does that. Tonight, Mr. Trolley Man here said for the last several months we've been hurting tourism here in town, and in the same breath says tourism's up to 18%. That seems a little bit of a conundrum there. Mr. Wilkins this morning on his interview basically said the mayor, this is a total, just one-on-one vendetta against him, and in the same breath said, well, there's 6 other people there in that neighborhood that are complaining about it too. There again, that seems to be contradictory.
I said there's 6 crabby people in town.
It's a lot more than that, Brent, believe me. No one is trying to cut down tourism here. We're trying to get everybody to get along. And when that doesn't happen, you have to resort to the ordinances. And once again, I have everything quoted here, all the statutes and everything, all this stuff is already against the ordinances in our books. Nobody wants anybody running around giving anybody tickets. That is not the point. Our police have better things to do. But people have to get along with your neighbors, especially when you're running a business in a residential neighborhood. That's the whole point of this.
Hey, Dave, I said that. I said you're hurting tourism. And if you, and I know you've never been in business, ice cream.
You're wrong.
Okay? We're working for next year. This year was established a year ago. If you knew how tourism worked, you'd know how we're advertising. And with the 7 things you guys have attacked, from fire pits, didn't want them. You wanted to tax restaurants 3%. You wanted to change the whole mechanism how we do things.
He doesn't have the floor.
That's enough. Hey,
It's enough, man.
go ahead, Rich, leave, would you?
No, I don't have to say
No, we have another meeting.
So we've got to actually. Hey, let's start on those.
Mr. Mayor?
We got all night. We've got a lot of.
This is us.
So no.
Go.
We have to move. We gotta go on. This has been an hour and a half, and you've already talked, and so does everybody else has already talked. So we have to do the order.
First is bill number 2016-4.